Let's start with the presentation. Yeah, the CODESYS automation server. Before I start showing the latest developments, I would like to give you a short recap about what the automation server is. I'm pretty sure that not everybody has already tried it or has understood the concept, therefore a short recap. So let's assume we are working with machines, and I think all of you are somehow running machines, PLCs. Typically, the PLC is the, let's say, the core of such a machine where the intelligence is running. But for sure, in production lines, in facilities, we have not only one PLC, but maybe multiple of such PLCs. And of course, for every PLC, we need a project. So the source code for the application that we want to be executed on device, and of course, the application itself, so the compiled project. Furthermore, we will have typically parameters for the PLCs, for the applications, maybe even backups of the applications, firmware versions, and even nowadays, we want to secure everything by means of certificates. So this already gives us a certain list of different properties, different items. And of course, all these items are located somewhere, and all these items have somebody who can access to that. So there might be a user accessing on different certificates on different PLCs, or another one accessing on parameters, on whatever. And you see that the dependencies of all these items are now becoming really complicated to handle. Now, the question is, how can we manage this? Yeah, especially if we have maybe even further projects or further applications or further versions of applications, this really gets not very transparent to manage. Therefore, the question is, who can help us? And of course, the answer is the CODESYS automation server can do it. And this is exactly the tool that does it. So this was a short recap and just a few statements from customers. So for example, a German company called Fliegl, they're doing agricultural machines and as well transportation machines. And I personally received that feedback from a guy who told me it took me less than 4 minutes to update several controllers at one time. He was really excited about that. Another customer from Switzerland, they do machines for cleaning cars. And they said, yeah, today we simplify the development, maintenance, and management of our control application quite considerably with the CODESYS automation server. And from their application, we took that screenshot here, a world map where they have different locations of their machines running, and they can easily now access to the controllers and the machines worldwide. And this gives me the opportunity to give you a first live demo. I will just switch to my login page. So I've already prepared everything. So just to save time, if I log in to the automation server, which is in this case completely hosted in a public cloud system, we're here working on Amazon Web Services Cloud. We get at first step an overview on the latest features and some hints and information that might be useful for a already experienced user of the automation server, but as well as you see down here, getting help for getting started. Now, what is the automation server for? As I said, it's a tool for administrating PLCs and everything connected to PLCs. Therefore, we have here on the left side a menu, and the first item is the PLC view, and maybe we go exactly to the topology view that we've seen in the screenshot before. For example, to the world map here, this is another world map, and we could go to several locations and view in detail which PLCs are behind. or we have different ways we can put in graphical pictures, views on whatever we need. For example, we have here in our premises in a separated network this nice demonstrator, and if I click on that here, I get all the PLCs on that demonstrator, and I get an immediate overview of the PLCs inside the demonstrator. And you see that out of that 7 PLCs that are connected in here, 4 of them are green, so they are running and executed properly as I would expect it, and the other ones are not running due to any reason. So if I go to one of these devices here, I get further information. For example, the device name, as we've seen it before, the gateway with which it was connected. I will talk about that in a minute. Then some further information about the name, the firmware version, runtime version, and so on. I have here up other, let's say, necessary and useful information. Again, this will be a topic in a few minutes here. I've down here a list of further topics, and as Chris mentioned, visualization inside the remote device is something I could immediately start up from here. So for example, this device, which is, as I said, in a remote network, of course, in this case, it's about 100 meters away from me, but it could be as well 100 or 1,000 kilometers away from me. It would not make a big difference, except the speed of the, let's say, the upload time. But nevertheless, I'm a different network, and I can immediately access to the web visualization, which is hosted on that special device in here. And I just click on that. So a new web browser, maybe just to show you, just let's say, made disappear the whole web browser thing here, so we have more space for the visualization, and I can immediately work on that visualization as I was directly in front of the device or administering the device on site or wherever I am. So this is already a possibility which is very useful, that I have a remote visualization possibility without establishing any VPN tunnel or any other direct encrypted communication technology. This is all handled by the CODESYS automation server. Okay, what else can we see here? Yeah, we have the topology view, the list view. Yeah, we can filter the list by tags. So we have here the headquarter demo, but I could, of course, get the whole list of devices. You see there's some others, let's say, demonstrators connected together. In this case, I just want to work with the one I had here, so then it's a little bit reduced. Furthermore, I can scan the network of the PLCs that are inside that edge device. Yeah? So I can select all the available edge services, the edge gateways, and see, okay, these are devices in here. There's even another one which was not yet bound in, and I can go exactly from here directly to the PLC that I have just shown before. And here I can handle all the gateways, all the edge gateways. And you see there are some of them are running, some of them are not, and they are all available. Now, one big issue is that these edge gateways are the same thing that we know from the CODESYS development system. And therefore, I switch to my CODESYS development system here. If I have any simple project, you know that the gateway, which is somewhere down here. So this is the gateway. This one can be used in order to connect my CODESYS development system to the target device. Now, I can easily connect that edge gateway as well to my CODESYS automation server, or I can easily synchronize remote gateways. So for example, if I scan the network right here, I found my local network here, but I won't find that device, which is in another network, as I just said before. But if I synchronize now the remote gateway, for that purpose, I need, of course, to get connected to that gateway. So just add the server URL here, connect to it with my credentials. I sync it, and now I have all the list of gateways in here. And now this is the wrong one. Let's take the, where is it? This should be the right one. Now it's green. I'm now remotely connected via the automation server, where my local network, to the automation server, down to the gateway of the remote network, scan the network here and find the same device here, which has, of course, a different target ID. Therefore, it's great here. But if I change that, I could remotely access to it, download the application, change application, and whatever I want to do. Furthermore, in addition to the PLCs, I can as well administer applications, projects, and compiled applications, and some further things which I will show partly in the preceding presentation. Yeah, the overview of the following topics will be security, application update schedule, and so on. I don't want to read up the whole list because I will go to every topic anyway. So security is a big topic for the CODESYS automation server, for us in general, for the CODESYS environment. Now let's assume you are running a settlement of automated houses, for example, in a vacancy village or something like that. And all of these houses should be automated by a PLC and be connected to the automation server. Then, of course, we need the PLC and we need the edge gateway to be connected. And the connection in here, the red one, is absolutely secured by different possibilities. So, for example, we use X509 certificate-based TLS encryption communication. This is the same technology that we use for online banking. So it's as hardened against hacker attacks as the access to your personal bank account. Then you can have things like multi-factor authentication, configurable password policy, password blacklist, user management, and so on. And this is something I want to show you as well quickly in the CODESYS automation server. Here, go to my login credentials, go, for example, to the user management, see all the users that are connected to this special tenant, to this special account, can, of course, edit the user. This means I can give it a different role. I can go to the user groups and change that as well, and define the access, what can be done with that. And of course, here there's as well a register card for password policy, where I can define how many digits are required for passwords, whether there should be a multi-factor authentication and some other things that are necessary for the security of my tenant and for my user management. Okay, next topic. Let's assume you have a machine and you want to update the application. Typically, doing that during working times is expensive because this will stop the production. Therefore, I'm pretty sure that you would not do that during production time, but outside the working hours. And therefore, you need an automatic scheduling for that. And this is something that is available right now, and I want to show you that in a live demo as well. So going back to the automation server and go to the applications, and you see that there's here a menu for schedules. There's already a list of existing schedules which we used for, of course, presentation purposes. I could add now a new schedule, give it a name. For example, rollout latest app version. Of course, this is a very generic name now. Give it a special description. Roll out to version 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to write. I can now add here an update time by means of a calendar tool with timing. So it's set in here. I can trigger on commit. I can define what should happen in case the rollout was not completely executed. Should there be a rollback on failure? On for every controller, only for failed PC, or switched off. I can define whether it should be active. I can, of course, select the project. For example, this one, I can select a commit, so a certain version of that project application and the application itself. And then I can define which of the compatible devices, the compatible PLCs to that application should be updated during that time here. And you see here, in that column, we see whether a device is available for the sync. This means when the synchronization of the application can be rolled out or not. So then it could make sense to, for example, update these two. Yeah? And as soon as they save that, which I will not be doing right now, this schedule will be executed in the time foreseen for that action. Okay, next topic, highlighting updates. You have already seen it a little bit, but I didn't mention it so far. When we go to the list view here, we see a nice overview on all the devices, and we see, for example, immediately that there's here an update available, and I could immediately care for it. By the way, this table view is as well configurable, so it can add further information, for example, versions or the special commits, so that versions of an application, the devices where it's on, whether there are notifications. And you see, this becomes quickly a lot, not very visible anymore. Therefore, I just go back to my former state, but you can configure it as you like to. However, if I go to the update available page here, I will see that for this application here, which is inside that list here. So we have here the applications, see all the updatable applications. There's an update available. I can go to deployment and immediately see which devices already have this application, but not the updated version of it. So this is the latest commit. And we see that even if these 3 devices already run that project and the application, they don't run the latest commit of it. So I could select them and apply the changes. So this would immediately roll out the updated application to these 2 devices. Just to prove that this was true here, I take the older one and see, okay, those 2 are running the older commit, and this one is already running the newer commit. So I could as well do a rollback to an older version in case I wanted to do so. So we have a clearly distinguished selection between the actually running version and the future versions which are available for the update. Next topic. In case you are connected to a PLC which is already bound into a CODESYS automation server, there is a problem. Because if the sync, remember, the sync is this one here, if this is activated, the CODESYS automation server has the priority for the update. So you can connect with the CODESYS development system to a device, to a PLC, but in case the automation server has the, let's say, the priority, it will override your updates from the CODESYS development system. So there may be a mixture when you're working from both sides. Therefore, here just a screenshot. The CODESYS automation server will tell you in the message window of the CODESYS the automation server is connected, so local changes may be overwritten. So this indicates why maybe possible misbehavior is acting as it is. Next topic. If you work with the CODESYS development system and downloading applications, you will appreciate the device log. This is something that we find here in that tool as soon as we are connected to a certain device. It gives us a lot of information. Now, it would be really useful to have all this information as well without the CODESYS development system, without a compatible project, and without a manually established connection to the PLC. And exactly this is possible right now. So let's go back to my example here. This is exactly this menu here, logs. I can now refresh the log and get exactly the same information then that would be connected in here if I had the right project and the right device connected and so on. So they're all this detailed information about components of the runtime system, about problems in licensing. For example, here's a license missing and we get some warnings and things like that. Everything is now available without any CODESYS development system. This is really very helpful in case of analysis features. Next topic, starts, reset, stop applications. This is of course possible with the CODESYS development system, but Now again, this is possible as well out of the automation server. For that topic, we go again to the PLC in here, and we see here the application running. And I can now stop it directly from here, execute the stop, get a warning. And after a certain time, I will see that the device is stopped. And of course, I can restart it again. And again here, I'm not connected to the same network. I'm on a different network. And you could now, of course, this is a very security relevant feature. If you stop a PLC running on a machine somewhere else on a production line, so be careful with that, or carefully use the user management in order to protect this feature against unauthorized usage. Next topic. We may want to access to files on the PLC remotely. And this is now as well possible, quite a new feature with the file management. So you have seen maybe seen this icon here or that icon here. So I have different ways to access to that feature. Let's stay with the device here. I can go now to the files of that device and see immediately what is running in the PLC part of that device. I can, for example, take such a configuration and transfer it from the PLC to my local computer here, open it, see what is in here, or the other way around. I can transfer a file from my local PC here to the remote device, again, here into a totally different network without any further tunnel, nevertheless secured, and can use that again. And of course, I can delete that again. So you can imagine with this feature, you can now update certain parts of the application. For example, update just a few screens of the visualization or whatever, even update certificates. However, this is not the right way to do it right now. But yeah, I think there are a lot of possibilities with that file management. Yeah, another thing which is not yet released, but it's just about to be released is the management of certificates. For that purpose, I have just a few screenshots. So this is an Outlook which will be released in the very next days. So there will be a security menu here with the device certificates where you can now add devices, even create devices. So you can create devices, you can upload trusted devices. You see as well here the table list, the trust level, can download, upload these devices, transfer them. So whatever is necessary in order to have a real certificate management. So here we have a screenshot for create certificates. I think the administration of certificates is something that will be very, very necessary in the future. And the CODESYS automation server and such a web-based management system is the natural place to administer such certificates. Okay, we already had some ongoing and future developments. One more thing is let's say the combination of physical dedicated PLCs and virtual control systems, so virtual PLCs. I know that there was already a presentation in the spring Tech Talk session about virtual control systems. Now here, the combination of virtual controls, virtual PLCs, and the automation server is an ideal combination. And for that purpose, maybe I show you that in the live mode immediately. For that purpose, I have another automation server started, which is now running not on a cloud, a public cloud, but on a dedicated device within our network here. It looks quite the same, yeah, just the same thing. I can have the same list view on virtual PLCs as before, but there is now a new category here, virtual devices. And if I click on that one here, I can select the host where the devices should be connected. And in this case, it's the host where the automation server is running. And then I can see the controls which are available on that host. And you see that there is already a big list of devices hosted. However, I can now add a new one and take again the host. There's only one right now. can select an image. These are the images that are available on the CODESYS store for virtual PLCs. For example, that's CODESYS Virtual Control SL. Give it a name, my virtual PLC 1, for example. I add it. Takes a second. So the container image is put into a container. We see it here. It's now idle. And I can now start it. So the whole container is took up, is running, and I have a new PLC available right now. And I could go to my network scan, just select the right gateway. I hope this is the right one. And should find it right now. Yeah, here it is. I could add it now to my new server. Let's do that. I won't do it to the end because then I need to add as well the user management for it. You can imagine that this is now exactly the same than doing before, and it would list up here in my list of devices in here. So going back to it, of course, I can stop it once again. So it's here. Can stop it, then it will be idle, or even remove it again. Then the whole container is removed and the image is deleted from my host system. So there's an easy management as well of virtual PLCs directly inside the CODESYS automation server. Necessary for that, there is an on-premises automation server, which is not running anymore in the cloud, but running on a local device in your own private network, with the benefit that you have the comprehensive and user-friendly control of all the functionality with additional capabilities. Yeah, this is what I was showing right now. However, managing and setting up the CODESYS automation server on premises takes a certain effort. And for that purposes, we need this locally self-hosted automation server. For that purposes, I show you let's say the work to do so. This was made in another presentation, which I just entered in here. Therefore, the background is a little bit different nevertheless. What we do right now with the automation server hosted on Amazon Web Services Cloud, here we benefit from a lot of services that AWS Cloud already offers us, which we can immediately benefit from. Hosting it locally, we need, of course, to bring in the services ourselves by managed Kubernetes clusters and a certain tool called the CODESYS Automation Server Manager. I don't want to go through in detail about all the steps you need to do. There's a special, let's say, setup guide. Everything is installed via a tool called Helm, by means of an installation operations manual. With this manager, as I already mentioned, showing you all the necessary steps to be configured and parameterized. Okay, but this just as a short outlook, this on-premises automation server is again about to be released soon. It's scheduled for the end of the year. So in case you're interested, contact Chris or anybody from the team in the US. They can tell you more and connect you to our local team in Germany too. Okay, let's conclude. We are already at the end of the time. The automation server brings you a lot of benefits, especially the new possibilities with increased usability, increased functionality, increased security of your data, and now in the future as well with on-premises hosting. So my recommendation for you is don't miss this benefit. And in case you did not do, try out the CODESYS automation server, create your own tenant. It's free of charge at first step. There is a free tenant for a limited amount of PLCs and a limited space, of course. Nevertheless, you can play around, get your own impression. And this would be my recommendation to try with that. Thank you very much for the presentation. And just